Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and we are at Mixed Martial Mindset with the one, the only, John Fitch. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking fights, knees to the face, NASA, transhumanism, several of Alex Jones' companies declaring bankruptcy today.
Bankruptcy.
And let me say this. I watched a lot of the broadcasts today, and the broadcast really was heavy on that issue. He really wasn't talking a lot about the global issues or etc. But I just want to say this out front. They're not perfect. There's a lot of things I've disagreed with them about. They need to be saved, period. Alex Jones, a force in nature. Infowars is important. You know, the fruits that they have produced over the years, even with the journalists that have left and continue to work, such as myself, such as David Knight that's now come over to the Rockfin, such as Truthstream Media, Aaron and Melissa Dykes. I mean, my God, guys. And that's a short list. That's a very, very short list. The people currently working there, like Harrison Smith, do exceptional work. So, I want to start.
If you don't have platforms and places for alternate information and people who are willing to dig deep and give you a different point of view and different information, like if you don't have these type of platforms, it's over. It's over. There's no information coming out to us to help us, triangulate what's really going on in the world, because they'll overshoot it, or they'll get kind of grandioso with some of the ideas and stuff, but they're still putting them out there. They're still making you look at it. I mean, a lot of the talk that Alex Jones was talking about the FEMA camps for years and years and years make a lot of sense now. I think they intended to put a lot of people in those FEMA camps.
Well, let's talk about a lot of things. Let's put it this way. As far as I know, Alex Jones and Infowars.com have never lied us into a war, period. Okay? And it never. That alone has never, ever happened. Okay? And if you look at the track record of that organization as compared to any mainstream outlet, I seriously mean any mainstream outlet of an overall perspective, and I would go as far as to say like PBS over the last 20 years, okay, they do a lot of in-depth documentaries where they get access. That's great. They're towing a line, a narrative of what these things are and what they do with society. Okay? There's some good work out there, Frontline, etc., but they're there to ease information out into the public, and I'm actually going to demonstrate that with two videos. One coming from the Rand Corporation, getting into the next stage of the internet, John. Basically, not just the information of things, but the information of bodies, this transhumanism that we've discussed, and show you how really they're just kind of a mouthpiece for the kind of technologies that have been used by the military-industrial complex for 40, 50 years. So these narratives must be challenged. And let me tell you right now, I'm not a religious guy. And maybe Infowars has too much of a religious flavor, or maybe they're too right-wing for you, or too Trump supporter for you. There are legitimate criticisms of everybody out there, okay, period? But they have brought more truth into the arena of the global narrative, not just in this country, worldwide, than anybody else. And any personal difference I've ever had with Alex Jones or otherwise pales in comparison to that. So that's why I'm starting the broadcast with that. SaveInfowars.com. Go to Infowars.com. Donate. Go to their store. Buy stuff. Tell them Jason Bermas sent you, because I think this is important. And you could disagree with me about this, but that's okay, because that's the point. Free speech right now is under attack like never before. Censorship is out there like never before. How many things did we get right on this program? How many mixed martial mindsets did they take down, John, during COVID 1984, where all the information was legitimate? I think they took like 5 or 6 episodes down. It's scary when a ex-UFC fighter got hit in the head for a living and a guy who didn't graduate college present
when
facts.
When you're freaking memes get you shadow banned on Instagram. Like, I got in trouble for the Spider-Man meme where the 3 Spider-Man are pointing at each other, and it's COVID, flu, and in the cold. Like that was like a banishable offense almost. Shadow banned.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
So ridiculous. It's a joke. It's a joke. When they put warnings on things that are clearly jokes, like I always screen capture the memes that they put the warnings on. I'm just like, this is like, man, grade school type stuff. You know, your principal has to write like something. This is not true. It's just fake. So fake.
So
can't trust any of these people.
You know, I think that we kind of got a couple of these informations, but we're going to have an uncensored part of the broadcast where we can kind of talk where all this means and all that good stuff. But one of the first stories I wanted to talk about here were the 7-foot-tall robots that were being used to spot unmasked travelers at Texas airports. Okay? Let's start there. And have you seen these yet? So,
no.
They're here. This is it. And look, they got the sleek design. They look like something out of 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I again revisited this week. And look, 2001: A Space Odyssey is so good. It's so good. And you know what? People shit on that movie and they think it's too slow. They think it's disjointed. It is such a good movie. And it has so many warnings, and you can hate the ending and wonder what it's all about all you want. But the points it makes about technology, pre-Apollo, remember that, pre any kind of supposed mission to the moon. And we'll get to Musk, because guess what, everybody? Elon Musk, he fucking launched another fucking rocket, SpaceX, John. And you know what? It didn't go to the moon, but you know what it did do?
There's people talking about, you know, they were joking about it, making fun of it, saying, like, oh, yeah, sure, we've got space lasers, because Russia was saying that they had tanks and things destroyed from the Neuralink, not the Neuralink, but the
Starlink.
The Starlink stuff. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's fake news from the Russians. Like, sure, we've got space lasers.
Meanwhile,
I watched Real Genius the other day with my girl.
Okay.
She hadn't seen it before. Val Kilmer.
Yes, of course.
And that was 1985 or so, and that was about space lasers and vaporizing individual targets.
Oh man, see, this is the thing. I had it because we'll find it again. Let's just go to it, I guess. By the way, yes, we have space lasers. It's on the cover of Time magazine. This is the Star Wars program. This is first generation. This is the 80s. Let me repeat that. This is the Star Wars program, the Strategic Initiative. This is the first generation. It's public knowledge. They lied to you. This is 1983. That was the public face of it then. They told you it was fake and that we lost. That's not true. Now I got to bring it up live, I guess. Okay? It's so out in the open that, oh man, it makes me so disgusted. So, let's see. There's the judge. Tell me I got to go to my stupid Facebook. Of course I do. Put it on my Facebook. And I didn't bring it up here. Oh, and I'm going to have to type in my time. John, tell people where they can find you while we bring up this article over here. Tell them what you're up to.
Go to johnfitch.net. Go to johnfitch.net. You spell it out. That's the Twitter. Go to the website. Sign up for the newsletter. I do online coaching for not just self-defense and fighting, but fitness. It's a little bit easier to do the fitness stuff online. But I also travel. I do seminars, small groups, private lessons all around the Bay Area, San Jose. Reach out, DMs, hit me up about that stuff. I'll be in Texarkana on the 30th. I'll be at a gym there. I'll have more info. I got to find the location where that's at. But Texarkana, I'll be there in a couple weeks.
Well, that is excellent news, Mr. Fitch. And what we're watching right here is a SpaceX launch. Again, it's not going to the moon, guys. There it is. Old SpaceX. And guess what it is? It's launching spy satellites for the second time. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket once again successfully launched a U.S. spy satellite from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, the company said. This is yesterday, okay? Do you not understand what's... They're his biggest contractors. Elon Musk isn't here to save Twitter. That's a facade. That's to build good guys and bad guys because Vanguard stepped in. Ooh, they bought it. They're the majority shareholder, and the sheik said no. No, they're not going to let old Musker do. He loves you, by the way. He tweeted out he loves you. And then he tweeted out a song, Sending My Love to You, John. This is the cartoon level bullshit we're at. He launched spy satellites on Easter that will either enslave or kill you. Woo! Yeah, but I'm the kooky one. People think I'm unhinged, John. He's unhinged. I'm unhinged that I don't like 7-foot robots telling me to wear masks when judges every time. Florida judge voids.
Well, even play a little bit of, not even, I don't know, devil's advocate, but like, even if Elon Musk is completely naive and harmlessly doing this stuff, he's still putting like war grade, tools out there for a corrupt government to use. So, like,
he's the hero of the day, John.
Even if you just like, is casually like, yeah, I really want to take care of space and do these things, and it's like, hey, buddy, we could really use your help with some satellites, and make sure the bad guys don't hurt us when we're trying to get to space, And he's like, oh, okay, and he's doing all this stuff. Like, who gets to control that stuff? Like, who? I don't trust Joe Biden controlling spy satellites and space lasers. With Kamala Harris and that cackle, pressing buttons and vaporizing people. That's what you want? That's what's yay. Or you people who hate Trump. Like, you want Trump doing it too? Like, seriously. That there's bigger questions and things to talk about and ask rather than just, is Elon a good guy or not? Like, those satellites, those things they don't just like disappear. They don't go away. They could be up there for what, 20, 50 years being used, being capable of use. Are they hackable? Can someone else access them and steal them? Is China stealing programs and going to be able to take over that stuff and steal that stuff? Is China's assets that are banging our Congress people and senators, they're spies. Are they going to get the codes and be able to use that stuff against us? Are none of these questions crossing anybody's mind?
Well,
we can't even trust our elected officials not to bang Chinese spy prostitutes.
What's it going to be like when it gets Westworld style and we can't trust them not to bang spy robots, John? Like the ultimate spy robot that like totally is into you, the bio-spy robot, right? But I don't think that's I think one of the fallacies of Westworld is that I don't think we get. You haven't watched yet?
No, I said a walking fleshlight.
Well, again, that asks a much bigger question about consciousness and AI and all these things that are basically being openly discussed now, which are in conjunction with human extinction. And the sell is that what? We're going to the moon. We're going to Mars. We're going to colonize space. There's going to be space travel for rich people. I just want to let people know now they are even out in the open, kind of showing you that you only virtually will you ever go to space. Okay, so this is making rounds on a lot of different media platforms. But last week, NASA put out the innovative 3D technology here that they put some on space. Oh, we're in space. There he is. He's in space. I'm on the ISS. So it's the virtual crew in space, and eventually this is what is going to be commercialized for you and I, and it'll be introduced in places like the metaverse. You know what I'm saying, John? That is what we're seeing with this stuff in real time. So they're, again, getting you ready. Oh, hey, we're on the ISS. And the robots are going to do all the work on the space stations. You get it? So, look, I have Bushnell saying it. We've played it on my program. They have to space harden humans if they want to get them out into real space beyond orbit. Do you understand? If you want to send people, all the radiation, all the unknowns, and that's after you navigate everything that's already out there in the loop, and you navigate what is known as what? Come on, guys, orbit. You think it's easy to just like bust through orbit? Like, all right, here's an example. I know there's a lot of people out there. I see them in the comments. They love space is fake. It's all fake. And Elon Musk wants you to believe that there's 1 in trillions of chance that we live in a base reality and it's not a simulation. So therefore, everything must be what, like some kind of a program or, a hologram or, code, right? So space is fake. When you read Annie Jacobsen, and you should, when they're doing those initial tests with those planes that are getting 60,000 feet in the air, right? The ones, that they're now telling you that you can travel on as a billionaire, that start to get into that atmospheric range where you're floating almost, they couldn't see anymore. And it's because black spots were coming all over and they didn't understand it. And you got to understand, they're under crazy G's. They're in all sorts of equipment. These guys had to John, just to go into these planes, these guys had to go prep for like 6 hours in these chambers just to decompress their bodies to get ready for what the fuck they were about to go through. All right. So when they're going through and they're seeing these black dots, they don't know what it is. Right. So later on, when they would land and they would get this from all these pilots, they started to scrape the material of what it was, the remnants of what it was off the thing, and they found out it was the bugs that they had sent into orbit via their atomic nuclear tests. I want people to really realize how fucking wild that is. So basically, through in nature, those bugs would have never hit that peak, in air where they would ever be that. But because some of them actually survived and were kicked up and not survived, but weren't, totally and completely evaporated. In other words, their bodies. And then they flung up into that place. It was causing vision problems. Now you get into what kind of space junk is up there, different satellites. I mean, it's fucking wild sauce up there. I mean, we have no idea. Okay. And I'm sorry if I broke all you flat earthers' hearts by just pointing out all the observable scientific realities that are out there via eyewitnesses. I'm not even telling you I know what we live on. I have no clue. You know what I mean? I don't think that there's a molten ball in the middle of the planet or whatever they're telling you there either. I think there's a lot of mysteries to the earth. And I think we've been lied to a lot. But, they're going to continue to lie. And that aspect of it is a big lie. So, John, let's talk some fights. Because then we can get groovy and we can get over to the other side of the broadcast. By the way, I'll say it again. Elon Musk, DARPA front, not your friend. Thumbs it up. So, UFC fighter uses victory interview to thank alleged mob boss Daniel Kinahan. Have you seen this?
Yep. I saw that, and I saw the interview about it, and I wanted to smack the shit out of the journalist. In my opinion, that guy's a major pussy and eats a lot of soy. Okay. And I don't know anything about this guy at all. I don't know who he is. I don't know the history of him. But the idea that this Irish mafioso gangster is somehow worse than our governments. Sorry, I'm not buying it.
Listen, okay? I'm not buying it either.
Did Daniel Kinahan, did he kill 1 million people in Iraq? Did he steal businesses from people and ways to live and whatever? Like, this is where I'm at right now. Is like some of these guys who are criminals are criminals because our governments say they're criminals. While our governments do the same exact shit. They do the same extortion. They do the same murders for hire. They're doing the same crap that this guy is doing. But they're mad because he's cutting in on their money. That's my honest opinion on it. I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm just saying the governments are shit too.
I agree 100% with that statement. However, let's talk a little Kinahan, because we actually have talked a little before, because this is the guy I've talked about that shepherds a lot of UFC fighters, was part of the upbringing of McGregor, and he's Till's guy. and he was connected to that execution at the boxing weigh-ins. You remember that one?
There was an execution at the boxing weigh-ins? I did not hear that one.
That a few years back, I've played, you can watch it. If you type in mob hit at boxing weigh-ins, that was tied to Kinahan. And the reason that this is big news, and you're not wrong. Listen, again, these gangsters or whatever, oftentimes you go back to the 50s, they were working with the FBI. They were so big. The FBI utilized them, period.
Yeah, what's the chances that he wasn't some kind of guy that was working with the government anyways? Like we can see, I know it's a different country, but we can see like how involved the FBI is in all these criminals undertakings. How many criminals are the CIA linked up with too? And the only reason that those criminals are successful and get away and make a lot of money and are able to kill the people that they kill is because the CIA propped them up in the first place.
Yeah, no, it's listen, it's again, I think it's $5 million they're looking for. Look, I want to shift gears. Actually, let's talk fights. You guys can hate us for a little while with 200 watching. Give us 100 thumbs up over at YouTube, huh? Let's do it. Knees in the face. They're very controversial across the board. Stoppages, no $1 million for Corey Anderson, who was winning that Nemkov fight and looking good, and it was clearly an accidental headbutt.
Accidental headbutt. We were sitting in the crowd and we couldn't even really see where it happened and what it happened from. I saw later that it looked like it was off the takedown. They bumped heads. So good stoppage, whatever. I'll have a video coming out later this week from my Clips channel talking about, because I talked about last night. Kind of upset. Yeah, no $1 million, like no title change, whatever. But I read this morning they are going to have a rematch and the $1 million is back on the line.
It should be. Period. No doubt about it.
100%.
And then you had these weird.
Done, everybody involved with that.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll watch that again. Let's run it back because it wasn't like it wasn't a good fight, but Anderson looked great on his feet and he was taking him down as well. And you know what it looked like to me? He was on top. He got some elbows off. He was looking to prop up and get that elbow, and Nemkov turned and his shoulder stopped, and that's where he came down on his heads, and that's where it happened. Played it a bunch of times on Showtime. Guys, I do want to say this. We got videos coming up from Rand Corporation here.
Go.
Little guys?
Yeah.
He's a dad. It's all right, dude. Hey, I get it.
It's Easter holiday this week, so they're home.
Yeah, no, I know. I've had the girl since Friday. So here, listen, guys. Here's something a little more Jason Bermas style. This is Rand Corporation telling you about the Internet of Bodies, and then even warning you about it. Okay, but they kind of lie to you in the beginning, so we're gonna break that down. And we've shown before. Let's see if we want to bring this over here. We've shown before the Rand document here, and explored it rather largely, the human brain computer interfaces. And these are kind of the mouthpieces of the military industrial complex telling you what's already kind of commercially and militarily available. Okay? So this was put out in 2020.
In the 20th century, wireless technology integrated with the human body was nothing more than science fiction.
That's a lie. I want to predicate with you that is a narrative lie. That is a provable lie. At the very end of the 20th century, via the post-World War II era, that is when they began to integrate human biology with machine technology, period. Okay, and pre-2000, it just wasn't commonplace or common knowledge, but even microchips were readily available in an RFID form, okay, at the very, very end of that century. I'm not saying it wasn't throughout, okay, but in this century, it's much different.
But today, Wi-Fi connected devices like heart rate monitors and sleep trackers have become common parts of American life. How has bionic technology evolved so quickly from science fiction to reality? And what could this Internet of Bodies mean for our lives moving forward? Rand researchers are studying this phenomenon and what consumers and policymakers need to know as we veer into uncharted.
I want you to see that right there. And these are the types of medical device vulnerabilities that they talk about. And they're going to talk about a lot of vulnerabilities as well.
territory.
The Internet of Bodies, or IOB, is actually an ecosystem. It's a bunch of devices that are connected to the internet that contain software and that either collect personal health data about you or can alter the body's function. We think
alter the body's function. Now remember, this is all being encouraged, and we're moving towards this, and this is Defense Department technology that is then seed funded into the university systems like MIT. That's where Boston Dynamics was for many of the robotics, and then into the medical industry, right? And utilized by big pharma in most cases. I want to put out there
of the Internet of Bodies as this collection of all these devices, as well as all the data that the devices are gathering about you. And in healthcare, it's Internet of Bodies has been around for quite a while. With the advent of the internet, it makes a lot of sense to connect your pacemaker to the internet so that your doctor can be automatically notified if something weird happens. If there's
Forget you. You're going to have some backdoor CIA accessible hardware in my chest that controls my heart. Get the F out of here. Get out of here. Are you ridiculous? Are you kidding me? What guarantees do you have that there is no way to hack this? That there is no way that some malignant body or the CIA or FBI or some other organization can't hack into it? What guarantees are there?
Yo, you know what? Listen, John, you know that mic issue? I think you just got to turn it, man. I think that you have it turned in a manner where
it's right in front of me right now. I think if I'm too far away.
No, I think it's the actual mic itself. I think that you have it on the side. Pull that mic, the ball off of it. Can you
when I breathe, I've experimented with it a lot.
Yeah. All right, I'm just saying because when you're
at one, or whatever, then it's a like whatever sound.
Well, I'm just saying if it's directional, when you're at one direction, there's no echo whatsoever, and it comes in good. So I think that, like, you see where your beard is. Let's see, you're on your left hand side of your chin. I think if you just tilted it like this, like sideways up here, and over left. I'm saying it's the actual microphone, not like the way you have it rigged up, like because only one direction is in there. But you know what? Maybe we need to put a microphone in your body.
Yeah, that would be the answer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, try right there. Now talk.
Maybe like that.
It's perfect. Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Yes. Excellent.
That
awesome.
makes so much sense.
All right. So, sorry we're doing the tech stuff on the fly here. Listen, it gets worse. They admit how hackable it is. Keep going.
Anomaly. It's natural in a lot of ways to want to understand more about your body, how it functions, how well it's doing.
IOB devices could revolutionize healthcare. Unprecedented amounts of personal health data could inform treatment plans that are completely tailored to a patient's needs.
There are pills now that have an electronic sensor that let a healthcare provider know whether you have taken the medication.
Let me just stop that right there. Think about that, John. Already they have medications that let you know whether the patient has taken it. So if you're deemed, I don't know, psychologically unstable, or a national security risk, and you have to take this medication, or you're a biohazard to the community somehow, they'll know whether or not you took the pill that they said you had to take because you had a thought crime. I mean, it's wild stuff.
Other things like precision medicine. So precision medicine is the idea of creating pharmaceuticals or treatment like specifically for your body, for your personalized treatment. And I think IOB could really help with that, because nowadays a lot of healthcare is based more on, average reactions, whereas with data from IOB devices, you might be able to really more precisely treat a certain disease.
But the Internet of Bodies
to collect and keep and store and look at this info. Is this information going to go straight to the NSA and their storage facilities?
Well, she's going to actually talk about that.
Okay.
This won't
This
be
is
a cure-all.
This is actually terrifying, because this is like the last step of them knowing every single thing about you, what you do all day long, no matter what. It's like, at 12:45, your heart rate increased to this much. Like, what were you doing?
In fact, the largely unregulated market poses risks to the uniquely sensitive data these devices collect.
First of all, there's the cyber risk of an actor potentially hacking into the system, whatever it might be. There's the privacy risk of all this data that's being collected, and the regulations about that data are really murky at the moment. And so there's not a lot of clarity into who owns the data, what happens to it, who it gets sold to, how it's being used. And there's even potentially national security and global security risks.
A few examples of these risks have already played out in real life.
Terrifying. Just put nice music and say it nicely so nobody's scared.
For instance, in 2018, highly sensitive information about U.S. military activity and base locations was inadvertently revealed by soldiers' fitness trackers. So this is a pivotal moment.
No, I just want to, by the way, you notice how they're also showing you a lot of other DARPA technology through this whole thing, right? You see that? That has supposedly nothing to do, it's just, so you got the bionic hand, and if you look here, this is what I'm talking about. These devices already are brain-computer interfaces that you don't have to have chips in your body, okay, or wire technology. And they will eventually get smaller and better, but they don't want to promote those because those will be reserved for the elite class. You understand? That doesn't have to be part of this transhumanist nightmare. They're like, yeah, there's going to be some problems. We're going to do it anyway.
So this is a pivotal moment. What can we do to make sure we reap the potential benefits of the Internet of Bodies without risking our privacy, security, and personal autonomy?
Consumers should be wary of IOB devices because as it's becoming more and more popular, all of this intimate data is being collected, arguably more intimate data than we've ever really recorded before. There's no clarity on what is being done with that data. With an old mechanical pacemaker, there's no data that was being collected and stored, and you could look at a history of someone's heart rhythms. Because policy tends to lag behind innovative technologies like this, it's probably up to the consumers and to the healthcare patients to really be aware of the devices that they're using.
You hear that? The consumers and the healthcare patients. You notice who she didn't mention? She didn't mention your doctor. She didn't mention the hospitals. She didn't mention the big pharma companies. She didn't mention the FDA. She didn't mention any of that. Let's point that out.
And this stuff, it does sound really good. It does sound really good. If I didn't understand the Edward Snowden stuff, if I didn't understand the history of the CIA, if I didn't understand the history of the FBI and what they've been doing in the last decade, if I didn't understand the backdoors and all this technology, this would be exciting stuff because the healthcare system to me is a big scam, and you don't need a lot of this bull crap that they put you through. An egotistical doctor who thinks he knows everything and is playing God versus a collection of information of millions or billions of people where you can sort through and find the best information possible for yourself. I don't know. I think the collective knowledge of billions of people over one egotistical person, I kind of like that. And being able to put on a device to scan my health, to test my blood, if I could take my own blood and get that measured, if I can get all these tests and things done by myself with electronics and scans and whatever, that sounds really good. It sounds really good. It sounds like it'd be more affordable and take less time. But I don't know who's in control of these devices. And I don't want any of these devices put into my body. If I can put on a glove and it measures all my shit, awesome. If I can put on a headband or, a ring or a patch or something, and that gets the work done, cool. But it's going to have to be encrypted. It's going to have to be impenetrable. I don't want signals going anywhere. Nobody else needs to have that information. There needs to be guarantees on its security.
There are no guarantees, though. That's the thing, because when you're talking about nanotechnology, let's get this out of the way. Not only is she telling you about the hackability of these devices or who's in control of the actual information that they have, right? Like, for instance, you talked about heartbeats. When is this person most vulnerable? Not only what are they up to when that happens, but maybe there is some type of, a time when you are relaxed. They're going to get everything from your sleeping schedule to your most vulnerable to where they could hit you, biologically, where they know it's going to hurt the most, period. All these things are a reality, but then if you
they'll be able to measure your feelings and opinions about people.
Yes,
everything. Because you go around somebody who makes you uncomfortable, or somebody you don't like, or somebody you like a lot. Like, your heart rate's going to change, your metabolic rate, all that stuff is going to be impacted. They're going to see something's up.
Exactly. They're going to algorithmically understand your reactions, your emotions, natural serotonin levels, and not just the nightmare of you having to take certain medications and being certain metabolic levels for you to be adhering to societal levels. Okay, it's insanity. But the fact that a lot of this stuff, the nanotechnology, we played the magnetic blob on here, I believe, last week, right, John?
Yep.
And that was controlled by magnetic resonances. So in other words, invisible to the eye or the touch or the taste, resonances that then move these things throughout your body to do God knows what. It just more and more, they're taking this out of our hands, and they're saying they're pushing forward. I mean, I'll give Rand this. At least they were very, very wary and showed some of the downside. But the downside is even darker. There really is no upside unless the user can be in full control. And full control basically means to be able to, like you said, take your own blood, take your own pressure, the basic stuff that they do anyway, your own vitals, all that could be very easily done, right? By yourself or with an AI machine, but then not have to upload that, find a way to upload that anonymously and not have intrusive devices that are going to track you via your body, right? I mean, is that too much to ask? We have the technology, but we'll never, again, this is about transforming humans. And we've been talking about it throughout COVID 1984, that there was a big transhumanist aspect to this, and it's really coming to fruition. We're seeing it more and more. They got Sentinel robots telling you to obey, and that's the thing. Even though this Florida judge did this and shot down the mask mandates, they just installed the Sentinel robots.
Yeah.
So you're gonna
this is here to stay, like TSA.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear forever. It's not. They don't want it to go away. This is just. It's ridiculous, dude.
It's over the top.
That's Florida Supreme Court. Now that'll go to the next level.
It's kind of like the same exact thing that we had in New York, right? So in Florida, though, obviously that's the movement where now Florida airports, you probably won't have to wear it. But as soon as you get off into another airport, they're going to try to enforce it because it's still a state issue. But, for instance, when Kelly Hochul just said, appeal, we'll appeal. It hasn't even gotten to the federal level. And when you're installing people like Ketanji, whatever, and you got terrible people already on there, like the guy who cried about, what was his name? Squee, him and Squee. Look, I don't think he sexually molested anybody, but he didn't have to almost cry when you talked about you and Squee, buddy. He's not a good guy either. He'll probably rule for the same thing, right? These people are awful. They're awful on all sides. In fact, YouTube, we want to talk real stuff. We did talk a lot of real stuff, but I want to get more into signature reduction, what's really going on with the Musker Do. I want to talk about gaslighting on another level. This is a crazy story. Only took 4 decades for them to admit that Martha Mitchell, the wife of the Attorney General who ordered the break-in at Watergate, got drugged and kidnapped by the FBI. Only finally admitted that 40 years later. So we can totally trust our government, guys. Like, if you
totally trust the FBI, yeah, they totally. do the right thing all the time.
Yes. If you want to be a part of that, and I know a lot of you do, come on over to the Rockfin, rockfin.com/Jason Bermas. That's where you can find the show. We're almost 54,000 strong. At least make that free account. And you know what? I'm going to check. Did anybody call in? We have one caller. We have Jay Wood. We're going to take the caller before we go over, John. And johnfitch.net is where you can find it. We got two callers. I think Elijah might be calling in as well. But let's get Jay Wood right now. Boom. Jay Wood, are you with us, sir? Oh, I think is that it? Jay Wood, are you there? Hello. He may have left. You try.
Lost him. Almost.
Yeah, we may have lost him. Oh, he is speaking now. Are you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. There we go. We got callers. What's up?
Oh, cool. Hey, so great show, by the way, and big fan. I was just wondering, I know you've talked to Joe Rogan. You've been, in private. Have you talked to him about Elon Musk and his connection with DARPA and the whole McGregor situation?
I haven't talked to Rogan and God in over a decade. It's been a long time since I've talked to Rogan. Even Jones in private, there hasn't really been any in private conversations. What you've seen on air is kind of what you've seen, other than, short interactions pre-COVID at the, what was it? The DC event that he put on. I talked to Rob Dew behind the scenes there. Rob Dew and I, keep in touch via text every once in a while, and I send him stuff about Elon Musk all the time. I know that Jones promotes Musk. It drives me nuts. Are you kidding me? I'll tell you what. I know that, Harrison Smith and I recently had an exchange, and he's been pretty much in agreement with me talking about those issues with Musk as well. So, look, man, you're not going to win every conversation. I mean, from what Jones has put out there, and I have no firsthand knowledge of this, he's talked about seeing text from Jack Dorsey, where Jack Dorsey seemed to like Alex Jones. I don't know what that means. It's a weird world out there, brother.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. You should also check out Richard Grove's latest podcast. He went a lot into the Operation Gladio, how it was like Al-Qaeda was set up by the Nazis, Muslim Brotherhood. Like there's a whole,
Well,
not to plug
listen,
Richard
brother,
Grove.
I love Richard Andrew Grove. Grand Theft World gets a big shout out, and I just want to say thank you very much for the call. And we're going to go to the Elijah on the Rockfin side. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Elijah, we're going to come right over. So listen, if you are on YouTube, we're going to leave now because I don't want to get thrown off there. Rockfin, or come over to Podbean. That's where you can call in. We have them in audio format and video format, another way to reach people via the podcasting, which they call everything now. We'll see you over on the flip. All right. So did
we finish talking about the fights? Because there was still
let's talk about those. We'll go to Elijah